Dave, the longest away trip of the season coming up, heading down to Plymouth. Looking forward to
it? No, looking forward to it in terms of it being a long away trip. Obviously, that brings problems within itself. But you're going away to what was a championship team last year, one of the biggest clubs in the division in terms of fan base. Not been there loads of times. The last time I went there was in an FA Cup tie many years ago. But you know there'll be a good atmosphere. Like I say, a long way to travel, but a long way to travel for our supporters. But certainly a game to look forward to.
Just touch on Tuesday night. We'll get onto the academy players in a minute, but you talk a lot around those games about opportunities and players making the most of that. 2 goals for Nathan, a goal for Odin, 2 assists and man of the match for Luis Fiorini. So better in that regard, albeit obviously taking the opposition into consideration. Yeah,
I don't sort of pertain to the fact that the opposition's important. You should try and play and be at your maximum at every occasion. It was a game that we wanted to win, regardless of the team we put out, and that'll be the case whatever game we play. There were some good bits, there were some bad bits. We wanted to, I suppose, try and show and get back a little bit our identity around how we press. We knew there'd be danger within that because you're, at some instances, going man for man, and if you don't do it properly, then you're going to get picked off. That was the case. There were some mistakes, but there was some good stuff, and it served the purpose of what we needed. Like I say, there was planned minutes for some players, with Saturday and with next week and beyond that in mind. There's still players needing to get up to speed, hence the minutes for Brad and for Joseph and for Nathan to a certain degree. So, like I say, a useful exercise, most importantly a win, and some positives, yes, with some of the first team lads, but most importantly with some of the academy lads.
Just on Nathan, he's obviously had to be patient in terms of starting games. I'm sure you'd like to get to the point where you can start both him and Kyle up front, but 4 goals regardless is a really good return given the minutes that he's played.
Yeah, it is. He'll always score goals. I think he's come into the club. We were chatting about it yesterday, just around giving Stoke some feedback with where he's at. He's come into the club not ready, by his own admission, and it's taken a little bit of time to get him up to speed. He's probably still not where he would like to be and where we would like him to be, and that's down to a sort of fragmented pre-season, which is always going to be the case when you're a younger player in a higher level team, that maybe the plan is for him to not be involved and go out, so you become a body. We've had a little bit of a similar thing with Tyler and the minutes that he's played at Everton. So yeah, he's had to be patient. We've had to be patient. The hard thing with Nath is that he's massively driven, and probably at times too harsh on himself, because of the desire to improve and get better and do what he does best, which is score goals. So Tuesday, regardless of the game, will have done him the world of good, and we'll continue to work with him to get him those opportunities and get him to the levels he was at last year as quickly as possible.
On the young lads then, Joe Astles obviously gets the headlines, becoming our youngest ever goal scorer, but assists for Che and Marcus Kuam. Corey Edwards, who obviously joined on loan from Rochdale, was really impressive when he came on. Minutes for other players as well. A really bright night for the academy.
Yeah, like I say, this tournament gives us the opportunity to do that. I think what it does also will allow players and further beyond that, an understanding of the levels that you need to be at in order to impact first team fixtures. It's really easy to jump on things to say, oh, younger players getting opportunities. I'm all for that, but you need to be realistic around where they're at. I think we've got, and it happened in probably in the League Cup game against Wigan, where younger lads maybe go in and can hold their own. We need them to, especially at the top end of the pitch, to impact games. You impact games by goals and assists and being involved in numbers. So again, I get there'll be a clamour to give these lads opportunities higher up. I've no issue at all with that. They've just got to be better than what we've currently got on a consistent basis, and be reliable in those moments. So the more we can do that, the better it'll be for them. The more they can train with us, the better it will be for them. But ultimately, it comes down to what they do on the pitch and on the games that they get their opportunities. Hence why I know this competition now is sort of takes a sort of sidestep, if you like, to concentrate on what the league looks like over the next 3, 4, 5 weeks. But if and when it does come round again, the opportunities are there, then people need to grab them. But one thing's for certain, all those lads that did play have done themselves no harm by the performances they gave, not just the impression they make with our staff and our first team players, but the people that were at the game watching.
Looking ahead now, you've not got another midweek game for around a month now, which feels like it's come at a good time. How do you utilise, I suppose, those 3 weeks that you've got with the players?
Yeah, I think it's maybe a bit longer than that. We've said amongst the staff really, and the players have spoken to them. It becomes a massive block for us because we've had a squad that through pre-season, some players have missed things and have been, like I say, a little bit fractured. And this gives a chance now to really work hard. And if it is working hard around our game plan stuff, things that we need to work on. We got an opportunity to do a session on Tuesday afternoon with the lads who didn't play in the game, things around our identity and sort of a template game that we do, which is really, really intense. We've not had the chance to do it really with the numbers that we've had and the people that we've had missing and not wanting to pick up more injuries. So the next few weeks we'll get opportunities to work at that, but it only becomes a short period. If you're looking at it being a 5-week block, the reality of it is our work in those moments are done Tuesday, Wednesday. So you have 10 days, you have 10 training sessions to get that as much as possible. Monday, although you can work on stuff, becomes almost an extended recovery. It'll be a plus 2. Friday becomes a -1 and a game prep. So those 2 days, if you like, are the chance when we get the opportunity to work as a squad, and maybe pick up on the individual stuff that needs working on Monday and Friday when you've got a little bit of time. But we have to utilise the hours we have outside on the training pitch as best as possible.
Monday was obviously transfer deadline day, 3 out, 2 in. One player who, I think no secret you've been targeting all summer, the other one maybe more of an opportunistic one late on in the window. What can you tell us about the deals for Tyler and Ben?
Yeah, obviously Tyler was with us from the start of pre-season, but obviously with Everton's situation, he unfortunately, from our perspective, had to go back with them, but completely understood why. They obviously took a little bit longer to get players through the door, and it's their prerogative, he's their player, for him to stay in, and was, again, for his perspective, involved in Premier League games from on the bench. So good experience for him. Obviously, after their game on Saturday, he came in with us on Sunday. He's missed some time, absolutely, but I suppose the positive is he was with us last year, knows what we're after. He's trained all the way through, just having as match minutes, and they're going to be important. In terms of Ben, yeah, opportunistic. It's one that's probably been in the background for a small piece of time. We're always looking at areas where we maybe need to strengthen and maybe need a little bit of cover. Ben covers both those options in the fact that he can play as a central midfielder and he can play down the left-hand side and brings valuable experience. It was one that went right to the end because there was other interest, and we were in a situation where we have planned for players to go out as part of our budget, and we need to make sure that we keep to that as best as possible. So we knew what we could afford, and we had to sort of stick to that, which meant we may have lost the deal. As it was, it worked out, so that was great. And if that was the case, then we had other potential options for us to go and get. But to be able to get, like I say, someone of Ben's experience and know-how, and someone whose versatility will help us in this period was massively pleasing. Happy
with the squad that you've got now?
Yeah, I've said this before, happy when everybody's fit. I think you have a squad of players that certainly in the way we do it will give us different ways of playing. If you lose certain players, it may affect that a little bit. We aren't and we don't pick a squad and recruit based on having 2 players in each position. That's not how we do it. It might be for everybody, but it's not for us. So what it does do at times, depending on the players that you have out, it may impact what you do and how you sort of play. So we don't have a natural replacement for Beatty in terms of what he does. Ben now gives us that opportunity to potentially play in there and provide that. There'll be different ones that, like I say, we don't have like-for-like replacements for, but that's where we are. So quite naturally, as everyone else would say, that our squad is really strong when everybody's fit. When everybody's not fit, then there are things that we need to maybe adapt slightly, but that's all right. We've done that for the since the time I've been here. But in terms of being happy, I've said to the players, it's no different. This is a really, really strong group. Technically, ability-wise, one of the, if not the strongest I've worked with. But we've got a new group, a slightly younger group. We've lost some leadership without being really outward leadership from the group. We've lost some characters. We've replaced that. I think some of the newer players that have come in have found it a little bit tough. That's all right. I think it shows not so much the magnitude of the club, because I don't think that's the problem, but coming into what has been a winning dressing room for so long, and that real desire and motivation to win. Sometimes all those things coming together, and we spoke about this last year, to be fair, can be testing at times. I think some have been tested, so we need to be a little bit patient. We'll get through that period, and as I say, over the course of the season we'll improve. What we have to do is make sure that we improve whilst we're still getting results, and hopefully that'll be the case.
And just in terms of getting players back fit and available, the likes of Callum Camps, Artu Hoskin and Teo Adoon, what are the sort of timescales on them?
Campsy will be the quickest of those. A couple of weeks we'd hoped for this weekend, but probably more looking like next weekend. Teo and R2 probably some point in October. We'd hope near the start, but again, depending on how things go with their rehab, will be maybe a little bit longer. But it's certainly before the end of October. We'd hope to have both of those 2 back. Beatty, as I've said, January, and I don't think, because of the nature of the surgery he's had with the repair of a meniscus rather than a sort of shaving it or trimming it off, you have to let things run its course there. So I wouldn't think there'd be much time off that. So that's where we're up to. Like I say, not too much concern over them. Obviously, we want them back as quickly as possible, but you need to let things run the course.
And just finally coming back to Plymouth, who have had a tough start so far, just the one win, new manager, a big turnover over the summer, obviously after relegation. Are you surprised by the start that they've had? Do you expect them to get better as the season goes on?
Yeah, I expect them to get better. I expect them, if you asked me at the start of the season, would they be up there competing? As I said, yes. I don't think that's changed. They say they've had a difficult start. There always is that, I suppose, possibility, because you don't know what relegation brings in terms of players moving on. I know quite a lot of players did move on as soon as they got relegated. Then you have to, I suppose, wait until the transfer window shuts until you can get settled around what you're doing. Well, that's now, and although things won't turn around immediately, although they'll hope they will, you'd expect them to improve from this point, as you would with all teams. I'd say exactly the same about us. The difference is we've picked up some results and got ourselves in an okay position based on, in my opinion, how our performances have been. So we need to improve upon that ourselves. We know it's like I say, a really long trip, but no excuses. It's a great game to play in. Big ground with a good atmosphere. We'll travel in our numbers, hopefully, and we can put in a performance that allows us to pick up a result.
Appreciate your time, Dave. Thank you.
Welcome. Cheers. Thank you.